Are you afraid of being alone? Most are terrified. But what if I told you that the very thing you fear is the key to unlocking your ultimate strength? It's true, solitude, the forge where unbreakable spirits are made. This is the story of Anna, and how she found her power in the silence. Anna was always surrounded by friends, family, expectations. She was a chameleon, constantly shifting to fit in, to please, to be loved, but deep down, a hollowness echoed. A sense that she wasn't truly herself. She excelled at everything she did. Top of her class, captain of the debate team, a social butterfly. Everyone saw a bright, successful young woman, but no one saw the anxiety gnawing at her. The constant need for validation, the fear of being alone with her own thoughts. Her relationships were intense, passionate, but ultimately fleeting. She poured herself into each one, losing pieces of herself in the process. When they ended, the hollowness grew, amplified by the sting of rejection. One particularly brutal breakup, after years of investment, left her shattered. It wasn't just the loss of the relationship. It was the realization that she had built her entire world around someone else. She had no foundation of her own. Her friends around her, offering comfort, advice, distractions, but their words felt hollow, their presence suffocating. She needed something more, something deeper. That's when she made a radical decision. She decided to disappear, not literally, but from her old life. She quit her job, ended her lease, and bought a small cabin in the remote mountains. No internet, no phone service, just her and the wilderness. Everyone thought she was crazy. They couldn't understand why she would choose isolation over connection. They warned her about the dangers of loneliness, the risk of losing herself completely. But Anna knew, deep down, that this was the only way. She needed to strip away all the external noise, all the expectations, and confront herself, her true self, in the silence. The first few days were brutal. The silence was deafening, the solitude oppressive. She was bombarded by her own thoughts, her own insecurities, her own fears. Doubts swirled around her, whispering that she had made a terrible mistake. She missed her friends, her family, the familiar comforts of her old life. She longed for the validation of others, the reassurance that she was loved, that she was worthy. But she resisted the urge to run. She forced herself to stay, to sit with her discomfort, to listen to the voices in her head. She started by establishing a routine, waking up with the sun, chopping wood, fetching water, cooking simple meals. The physical labor was exhausting, but it was also grounding. It forced her to be present, to focus on the task at hand. She spent hours hiking in the mountains, exploring the forests, observing the wildlife. She marveled at the beauty of nature, the resilience of the trees, the quiet strength of the rocks. She started meditating, trying to quiet the chatter in her mind. It was difficult at first, but slowly, gradually, she began to find moments of stillness, of peace. She started journaling, pouring out her thoughts, her feelings, her fears. She wrote about her past, her present, her future. She explored her regrets, her dreams, her hopes, as she spent more time alone. She began to notice subtle shifts within herself. The constant need for validation started to fade. The fear of being alone began to dissipate. She started to feel stronger, more confident, more self-assured. She realized that she had been living her life for others, trying to please everyone but herself. She had been so focused on seeking external validation that she had neglected her own inner voice. In the silence of the mountains, she finally began to hear that voice. It was quiet, but it was strong, and it was true. She started to reconnect with her passions. She had always loved to paint, but she had abandoned it years ago, convinced that she wasn't good enough. Now, with no one to judge her, She picked up a brush again. She painted the mountains. The forests, the animals. She painted her feelings, her thoughts, her dreams. She didn't care if her paintings were perfect. She just enjoyed the process of creating. She also started to read, something she hadn't had time for in years. She devoured books on philosophy, psychology, spirituality. She learned about different ways of thinking, different ways of living. She began to question her old beliefs, her old assumptions. She realized that many of the things she had always believed to be true were simply stories she had been told, stories she had accepted without question. She started to redefine herself on her own terms. She decided what she wanted to believe, what she wanted to value, what she wanted to become. She realized that true strength wasn't about being popular or successful or loved by everyone. It was about being true to yourself, about living your life according to your own values, about finding peace within yourself, regardless of external circumstances. She learned to embrace her imperfections, her flaws, her vulnerabilities. She realized that these were the things that made her unique, that made her human. She learned to forgive herself for her past mistakes, to let go of her regrets, to move forward with a clean slate. She learned to appreciate the simple things in life, the beauty of nature, the warmth of the sun, the taste of fresh water. She learned to be grateful for everything she had, even the challenges, even the hardships. She learned to love herself unconditionally. After a year in the mountains, Anna was a different person. She was stronger, more confident, more self-assured. She had found her voice, her purpose, her true self. She decided to return to the city. But she didn't return to her old life. She didn't go back to her old job, her old friends, her old habits. She started a new life, a life that was aligned with her values, a life that was true to herself. She found a job that she was passionate about, a job that allowed her to use her skills and talents to make a difference in the world. She made new friends, people who shared her values, people who supported her dreams. She set healthy boundaries in her relationships, refusing to compromise her own needs and desires. She continued to prioritize solitude, making time for herself each day to meditate, to journal, to connect with her inner self. She realized that solitude wasn't about being alone. It was about being with herself, about nurturing her own soul. She learned that true connection wasn't about being surrounded by people. It was about being authentic, about being vulnerable, about sharing her true self with others. She found love again, but this time, it was different. This time, she didn't lose herself in the relationship. She remained true to herself, her own values, her own dreams. She realized that true love wasn't about finding someone to complete her. It was about finding someone to complement her, someone to share her life with, someone to support her growth. Anna's journey is a testament to the transformative power of solitude. It's a reminder that the very thing we fear can be the key to unlocking our ultimate strength. It's not about running away from the world. It's about running towards yourself. It's about taking the time to disconnect from the external noise and connect with your own inner voice. It's about confronting your fears, your insecurities, your doubts. It's about embracing your imperfections, your flaws, your vulnerabilities. It's about learning to love yourself unconditionally. It's about finding peace within yourself, regardless of external circumstances. It's about living your life according to your own values, about being true to yourself, about following your own path. Solitude isn't easy. It requires courage, discipline, and a willingness to confront your own demons, but the rewards are immeasurable. It's in solitude that we find our true selves. It's in solitude that we forge our unbreakable spirits. It's in solitude that we discover our ultimate strength. Are you ready to embrace the power of solitude? Are you ready to forge your own unbreakable spirit? It starts with a single step, a single moment of silence, a single act of self-reflection. Take some time today to disconnect from the world and connect with yourself. Turn off your phone, close your laptop, and find a quiet place where you can be alone with your thoughts. Ask yourself some questions. What do you truly want in life? What are your values? What are your dreams? What are you afraid of? What are you insecure about? What are you doubting? Be honest with yourself. Don't judge yourself. Just listen. Write down your thoughts, your feelings, your fears. Pour out your heart onto the page. Meditate, pray, or simply sit in silence. Allow yourself to be present, to be still, to be at peace. Connect with nature. Go for a walk in the woods, sit by the ocean, or simply look up at the stars. Remind yourself that you are not alone. You are connected to something larger than yourself. You are part of the universe. You are strong. You are capable. You are worthy. You are enough. Embrace the power of solitude. Forge your unbreakable spirit. Discover your ultimate strength. Anna's story is just one example of the transformative power of solitude. There are countless others. People who have overcome adversity, achieved their dreams, and found peace within themselves through the practice of solitude. Think of the great artists, writers, and thinkers who have retreated into solitude to create their masterpieces. Think of the spiritual leaders who have spent years in isolation to connect with the divine. Think of the entrepreneurs who have locked themselves away to develop their groundbreaking ideas. Solitude is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. It's a sign that you are willing to confront yourself, to challenge yourself, to grow. It's a sign that you are ready to become the best version of yourself. Don't be afraid of being alone. Embrace it, cherish it, use it to your advantage. Solitude is your superpower, but solitude isn't just about being alone physically. It's also about being alone emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It's about disconnecting from the noise of the world, the opinions of others, the expectations of society. It's about creating space for yourself to think, to feel, to be. It's about protecting your energy, your time, your attention. It's about saying no to things that drain you, that don't align with your values, that don't serve your purpose. It's about surrounding yourself with people who lift you up, who support you, who inspire you. It's about creating a life that is authentic, meaningful, and fulfilling. It's about living on your own terms. Solitude is a practice. It's something you have to cultivate, to nurture, to prioritize. It's not always easy. There will be times when you feel lonely, when you feel isolated, when you feel like you're missing out. But remember why you're doing it. Remember the benefits. Remember the strength you're forging. Remember that solitude is not an end in itself. It's a means to an end. It's a tool that you can use to create a better life for yourself and for the world. Use your solitude to connect with your creativity, to explore your passions, to develop your talents. Use your solitude to heal your wounds, to forgive your mistakes, to learn from your experiences. Use your solitude to connect with your spirituality, to deepen your faith, to find your purpose. Use your solitude to connect with your community, to serve others, to make a difference in the world. Solitude is not about escaping from the world. It's about preparing yourself to engage with the world in a more meaningful, more authentic, more powerful way. It's about becoming a force for good. It's about making the world a better place. Anna's story is a reminder that we all have the potential to transform our lives, to overcome our challenges, to achieve our dreams. We all have the power to forge our own unbreakable spirits. We all have the ability to find peace within ourselves, regardless of external circumstances. We just have to be willing to embrace the power of solitude. So, What are you waiting for? Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and step into the silence. Discover the strength that lies within you. Forge your unbreakable spirit. Embrace the power of solitude. Don't let the fear of being alone hold you back from becoming the person you were meant to be. Don't let the opinions of others dictate your path. Don't let the expectations of society define your worth. You are unique. You are valuable. You are worthy of love, of happiness, of success. Believe in yourself, trust yourself, follow your heart. The world needs your gifts, your talents, your perspective. Don't be afraid to share them. Don't be afraid to shine. You are a light in the darkness. Let your light shine brightly. The world is waiting for you. Go out there and make a difference. But first, take some time for yourself. Take some time to connect with your inner self. Take some time to forge your unbreakable spirit. Take some time to embrace the power of solitude. You deserve it, you need it, the world needs it. So, go be alone, be still, be silent, and discover the magic that lies within you. Anna's story, like so many others, highlights a critical truth. External validation is fleeting. It's a sugar rush that leaves you craving more, and ultimately, feeling empty. True strength, true confidence, comes from within. It's built brick by brick, in the quiet moments of self. Reflection, in the challenging moments of self. Reliance. Think about the times in your life when you felt the most powerful. Were you surrounded by people, or were you standing alone, facing a challenge head on? Chances are it was the latter. It's in those moments of solitude, when we have no one to rely on but ourselves, that we discover what we're truly capable of. We learn to trust our instincts, to make our own decisions, to overcome our fears. We learn to be self-sufficient, to be resilient, to be unbreakable. And that's a power that no one can ever take away from us. But solitude isn't just about building strength. It's also about finding peace. In a world that is constantly bombarding us with information, with stimulation, with demands, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, stressed, and anxious. Solitude offers us a refuge from the chaos. It's a place where we can disconnect from the noise, reconnect with ourselves, and find a sense of calm. It's a place where we can recharge our batteries, replenish our energy, and restore our souls. It's a place where we can simply be, without having to do, without having to perform, without having to please. And that's a gift that is more valuable than ever in today's world. So, how can you incorporate more solitude into your life? It doesn't have to be a dramatic gesture, like moving to a remote cabin in the mountains. It can be as simple as waking up 30 minutes earlier each day to meditate, to journal, to read. It can be as simple as taking a walk in nature, without your phone, without your headphones. Just you and the trees. It can be as simple as saying no to social events that you don't really want to attend, and spending that time doing something that nourishes your soul. The key is to be intentional about it. To make solitude a priority, to schedule it into your day, just like you would any other important appointment, and to be patient with yourself. It takes time to adjust to being alone. It takes time to quiet the chatter in your mind. It takes time to find your inner peace, but it's worth it. The rewards are immeasurable, so start small. Start today. Take a few minutes to disconnect from the world and connect with yourself. You might be surprised at what you discover. You might be surprised at the strength you find. You might be surprised at the peace you feel. And you might just discover that solitude is the key to unlocking your ultimate potential. Consider subscribing to this channel for more insights on personal growth and self-discovery. Share this video with someone who might benefit from hearing this message. Let's build a community of individuals who embrace solitude as a path to strength and fulfillment. What are your thoughts on solitude? Share your experiences and insights in the comments below. Your voice matters. The narrative of the solitary figure, ostracized and misunderstood, resonates deeply within the human psyche. It speaks to the inherent tension between our need for belonging and our yearning for individuality. Throughout history, those who have dared to challenge the status, to question established norms, and to forge their own paths have often found themselves standing alone, facing the scorn and derision of the masses. But it is in this very solitude that their true strength is born. The world often rewards conformity and punishes dissent. Those who blindly follow the crowd, who unquestioningly accept the prevailing narratives, are often lauded as virtuous and righteous. But those who dare to think for themselves, who dare to challenge the established order, are often branded as heretics, rebels, or even. This is because the truth is often uncomfortable, and those who cling to illusions and comforting lies will do anything to silence those who threaten to expose their fragile reality. Solitude is not merely the absence of company. It is a state of being, a crucible in which the self is tested and refined. It is in the quiet moments of introspection, away from the noise and distractions of the world, that we can truly confront our own demons, examine our beliefs, and discover our true purpose. It is in solitude that we can shed the masks we wear to please others and embrace our authentic selves, flaws and all. However, the path of solitude is not an easy one. It requires immense courage, resilience, and self-belief. It demands that we confront our deepest fears, overcome our insecurities, and embrace the uncertainty of the unknown. It means facing the possibility of failure, rejection, and even ridicule. But it is in these very challenges that we grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Those who fear solitude are often those who are most afraid of themselves. They rely on the validation and approval of others to define their worth, to give their lives meaning. They are like puppets, dancing to the tune of societal expectations, never daring to question the strings that bind them. But the solitary figure, the one who has embraced the wilderness of self-discovery, is free from these constraints. They are the masters of their own destiny, the architects of their own reality. It is important to distinguish between solitude and loneliness. Loneliness is a state of emotional isolation, a feeling of disconnection from others. It is a painful and debilitating experience that can lead to depression, anxiety, and even physical illness. Solitude, on the other hand, is a deliberate choice, a conscious embrace of one's own company. It is a time for reflection, for creativity, for personal growth. It is a source of strength, not a sign of weakness. The world needs more solitary figures, more individuals who are willing to stand apart from the crowd, to challenge the status, and to forge their own paths. These are the innovators, the artists, the thinkers, the leaders who shape the course of history. They are the ones who dare to dream of a better world and who are willing to work tirelessly to make that dream a reality. But the solitary figure must also be wary of the dangers of isolation. It is important to maintain connections with others, to cultivate meaningful relationships, and to contribute to the well-being of the community. Solitude should not be an excuse for selfishness or indifference. It should be a source of strength that empowers us to make a positive impact on the world. Ultimately, the path of solitude is a journey of self-discovery, a quest for authenticity, and a commitment to living a life of purpose. It is a path that is not for everyone, but for those who are willing to embrace the challenges and rewards, it can lead to a life of profound meaning and fulfillment. The story of the individual who stands apart, who is, for their vision, is a timeless one. It echoes through the ages, reminding us that true strength lies not in conformity, but in the courage to be oneself, even when that self is misunderstood and rejected. It is a reminder that the greatest contributions to humanity often come from those who dare to walk a different path, to challenge the established order, and to forge their own destiny in the crucible of solitude. Consider the artist who toils in obscurity, driven by an inner vision that the world may not yet be ready to comprehend. They pour their heart and soul into their work, often facing criticism and rejection, yet they persist, compelled by an unshakable belief in the power of their art. It is in the solitude of their studio, surrounded by their creations, that they find the strength to continue, to refine their craft, and to ultimately share their unique perspective with the world. Or consider the scientist who dedicates their life to unraveling the mysteries of the universe, often working in isolation for years, pursuing a line of inquiry that others deem foolish or impossible. They face countless setbacks, endure endless hours of painstaking research, yet they persevere, driven by an insatiable curiosity and a desire to understand the fundamental laws of nature. It is in the solitude of their laboratory, surrounded by their instruments and data, that they make groundbreaking discoveries that transform our understanding of the world. These are just two examples of the countless individuals throughout history who have embraced solitude as a source of strength and inspiration. They are the pioneers, the innovators, the visionaries who have shaped the course of human civilization. They are the ones who have dared to challenge the status, to question established norms, and to forge their own paths, even when it meant facing the scorn and derision of the masses. The world needs more of these individuals, more people who are willing to stand apart from the crowd, to think for themselves, and to pursue their passions with unwavering determination. But it also needs to create a more supportive environment for these individuals, a society that values creativity, innovation, and independent thinking. It needs to recognize that true progress often comes from those who dare to challenge the status, and that solitude can be a powerful catalyst for personal and societal growth. So let us not fear solitude, but embrace it as a source of strength, inspiration, and self-discovery. Let us encourage those who dare to walk a different path, to challenge the established order, and to forge their own destiny. For it is in their solitude that the seeds of innovation and progress are sown, and it is through their vision that the world is transformed. And as we witness the solitary figure rise from the ashes of their own trials, let us remember that their journey is not one of isolation, but one of transformation. They have not merely survived, they have become something more, something stronger, something that the world desperately needs. They are the beacons of hope, the harbingers of change, the living proof that